I have to say, guys, that whatever you're doing today, you have to understand that finance is a game. And then when you get the game better than yesterday, you realize that you have more finances and you have more health and you have more wealth. You have to understand that those people who really, really dig into their finances every single day and are ones who are able to shift with the economy to regard that whatever is going on with numbers, they are able to see people's numbers. So I can see your numbers just by seeing your Instagram, and I can tell how much you have done and who you are just by the look of your Instagram. You have to understand that numbers rule the world, and those people who have the greatest numbers are the ones who are studying much more about everything. I mean, they're learning growth skills. I mean, they're learning motivational skills. I mean, they're learning how to do everything with the video cameras and also photography and also how to speed read. You have to understand that it's very important to do so and make sure that you have better numbers today. You see, guys, when others are putting you down and when others are criticizing you and making you negative, it's really that you're allowing them to. You have to understand you never allow people to put you down. You never allow people to drag you down. You never allow people to get negative upon you. You understand? Because when you allow it, you understand that what's going to happen is you'll forgive, although you go away. You have to understand it's about going away now. And you have to allow life, or you have to allow life totally to be fluent in whatever they're doing. Although just remember that you never need to allow negative people around you to be with you. You never need to be around stupid people and people who are poisonous. You just have to remember that. You have to understand to take control back and go where peace is and go where no violence is. I promise you that's the best way to live life. You see, guys, the true communication technique is be better than yesterday. And it's when others are criticizing you, you just let them criticize you, because guess what? If you are somebody, I promise you, if you are somebody who is better than yesterday, you understand that there is no criticism in being lower than you are. You have to understand it's really, let's do better today than yesterday, and you understand that those people who are criticizing you are never going to matter anyway. You have to understand that those people who are really into you are the ones who are growing you, and they're the ones who are giving you ideas, and they're the ones who are always with you when you are at your worst. You have to understand those people are your mentors, and they are the ones who are really helping you to give you ideas so that you can prosper and so that you can succeed every single day. You have to understand that's what a mentor does. I need you to be a mentor today. I need you to learn more communication skills, and I need you to be more of a leader. I'd just love to say, guys, that the ideal way to make videos today is 1 minute snaps of information, and you post it online, and you make 5,000 videos of 1 minute each. And what you do is you title your videos all differently, and what happens is you hashtag along the way, and guess what? You already have 25,000 browse search ways to find yourself on YouTube, and it's so brilliant because I do that. And you have to understand that it's really, really effective when you just give money for advertising, so that you understand that when you have an Instagram that can also relate with your YouTube, you'll find that many people from Instagram will also go into your YouTube account and will start to look at what you do, because that way you don't have to hashtag at all, because you give money for those people to come see you. So just keep that in mind, guys, and happy days. You see, guys, the thing about moving along and traveling around the world is you need to have proper finances. You need to have the best mindset you have to have the best mindset possible today to understand that whatever it is you're trying to do is you're really trying to gain more attention while also gaining the skills to move place to place while having more money to do so. I promise you, although, that the whole deal with that is that you become better than yesterday in whatever you're doing right now, because your prime version is where you need to be. You have to understand that money alone will never make you happy. I promise you that $1 billion, if I gave you $1 billion right now, you will not be happy with it. I promise you. Why? Because it depends on, are you better than yesterday or not? Because if you're worse than yesterday, I promise you that $1 billion will go towards the worst aspects of life. So just remember, be in your heart today, and that's the way to become the best version. You see, guys, the best way you can figure out sneaky people is look at them from the heart. and see what your heart says about them. Because when you push your heart into the person, you're going to find out their true intentions. You're going to find out, are they better than yesterday or not? You're going to find out what type of person they are. You're going to find out what do they need from you. You're going to find out who they are. And you're going to find out what do they need from you in a way that is going to benefit you or hurt you. You have to understand that it's really that you understand that what you need today is a better question. You have to understand that those people who are on your side are the ones lifting you and never criticizing you. So when they are criticizing you and being negative upon you in one area of your life, I promise you it's because they are jealous of you and it's because they hate you. And you'll find that this is even your biological family. So what you do in these times, you just lift up everybody. And that way you'll be a leader. You see, guys, your heart's desire must be empathy. You must have compassion. You must be proactive in a way that you're going to be productive, because productive people are ones who are satisfied with growth. You have to understand they're ones and they're people in divine nature who understand how to grow every single day. And how do they understand that? Because they see it. I don't know nothing, as Socrates says, because guess what? When you know something, you'll never understand it and you'll never know it because you know it already. I need you to understand that as soon as you know, you've already blocked yourself from learning. I need you to understand that when you're growing, you'll know nothing now, because that way you're going to be open-minded and you're going to understand that I realize you're going to understand that Danny Milivojevic, as soon as you know him, you'll never get to know him in the future. And you should understand to keep not knowing everybody, and that way you will learn more about them. You see, guys, to look good, you have to understand that health is vital. You have to understand that those who understand health are also the ones reading it every single day. I understand that once you gain leverage in your health, you also gain the wealth, because wealth is part of health. Although if you're gaining wealth and not your health, you've actually lost your whole life, because the whole joy of life is in the vibrancy and in being youthful and in being young in life and aging younger as you grow. And you never grow older, you only grow younger throughout time. You have to understand you never age well, you age better than yesterday. You do whatever it takes to make sure that your health is much better and better and better and better in all areas of your life. You have to understand that in all areas of your life, you must be better and better and better and better. I mean, that is what personal development is all about. You see, guys, the key aspect of life coaching is get results. So when you are getting results, when you're getting results, you understand that it's really about communication skills and understanding that when you communicate, you're never going back on your words, although you're just making sure that you're communicating in a way that's going to be profound, in a proactive way, to understand you're productive along the way. I need you to understand it's about rhyming as well and making sure that you can rhythm in your words so you can understand poetry. You have to understand poetry and rapping and everything in life. You have to understand it's all about everything. And you should understand that once you have a simile and a metaphor together, you understand grammatical errors and also what is wrong and right. Because guess what? There is no grammatically correct way to do anything in life. And you should understand that when you're correct, you'll be better correct than yesterday by learning more. You guys have to understand that technology is very important today so that you can understand what you mean. You have to understand that what you mean is getting across in a better way. So when you have the technology to do so, and when you have the phone to do so, that helps you to have a lot of storage, and it helps you to get your message across, and you have the internet to back yourself up. Although you have to understand, you have to start somewhere. You have to understand that eventually you have to get to a phone, and you have to eventually start coaching somebody, something about your life. Because if you're not explaining your story, and if you're not giving your story out, you're going to be a nobody. I mean, do you understand? I mean, you may be a somebody to your sister and mother and father and brothers and sisters. I mean, in the world, you must give your story to inspire somebody else other than your biological family to be somebody. I need you to understand that. You see, guys, the deal is that when you're growing and when you're eating something, you have to understand that you're eating wisdom and growing in wisdom. You have to understand that those people who are really foundational in what they're doing are the ones who are living in the heart. I promise you that those people who understand the foundation of life are the ones who are using the I and you factor. I promise you it's called I and you rule the world. You have to understand, what world is that? I promise you it's the inside world. I promise you I'm not here to conquer you. You're not here to conquer anybody else. You are here to go inside. I promise you we are supposed to be living inside. I promise you it's supposed to be our world. You understand? So our world is now. Because nothing is supposed to be. We just are. You have to understand that in life, we live inside, and that way we are going to communicate greatness. I promise you, you have to be greatness today in order for you to find a lot of salvation. You see, guys, if you feel like giving up, you have to make sure that you're pushing your heart. You have to understand that life is to be yours. You have to understand that you have to motivate yourself every single day. You have to be motivated inside the mindset. You have to understand that the mindset needs information. You need information all day long so that you can understand what greatness is. You have to understand that without information, you'll never be smart. You have to understand that without smartness, you can never do anything. You have to understand without doing anything, you can never be. You have to become something. You have to be great. You have to look at the stars and you have to imagine something. You have to go and create that. You have to go and create something that's really a metaphor and something that you can never describe, although you can see it and you can draw it and you can write it and you can feel it and you can express it with the heart. You go and do that, please, because that's you in greatness. I need you guys to understand that whatever you're doing today must be different. You must be unique. You must be a great communicator today in order to influence people and in order to do something great. You have to understand that those people who have the courage to do something are the ones taking action today upon what they need to do. So what is it that you need to do today that's going to help you to move forward? Because that's the question you must ask every single minute. You have to understand that every single moment you have in life is either growing or dying. You have to understand you have to be growing all the time. You have to change up your communication all the time. You have to realize that if you're scared to do something, you just say it on camera. And guess what? You have now revealed yourself. And guess what? You can now keep growing because the world can see you now. You have to understand that your fears are a lie. So make sure that you go and speak something out into a video camera or audio tape. And guess what? Let's inspire people today. You see, guys, the amazing thing about life is that you must speak in a way that is going to be different all the time. And when you're unique about it, you understand you're speaking always differently. And the cause of this is making sure that you grow. Because those people who grow never say the same word twice, in the same sentence twice, or in the same way twice. Because when you're doing everything twice, you're never learning. You have to understand that life is one. And the more you can stick with number one in life, the better for you. You have to understand, I use number one in all aspects of life. I do one video at a time. You understand? I speak one way at a time. You understand? I do dress one way every single day. Because one way differently lasts a lifetime. You have to understand, you never do anything twice, because that way you'll never grow. You do it once and it's more than enough. You see, guys, the greatest gift you have right now is your communication skills. And it's also your mindset. And it's also your heart. And it's also the people around you. You have to understand that when you have a chance, you use everything to your advantage. I mean, use everything. And make sure that you understand that it's about growth now. You have to understand it's about reading. You have to understand it's about long term. You have to understand that every single day in my life, I have 72 years more to plan. Because I plan to live up to 100. You have to understand, when I turn 95, I plan to live to 120. So I'm always planning ahead of time, and 72 years ahead of time, because currently my age is 28. You have to understand, I plan to live over 100 now. I plan to do what I need to do to get there. You also have to do the same. You have to understand that we're a team. So guess what? Make sure that you have more team members and start growing today. You see, guys, the main characteristic of life is making sure that what you're doing today is going to be progressive and is going to be growing. You have to understand that those people who are really studying life are the ones who are entrepreneurs and leaders in terms of life, and they're also making sure that every single day that those around them are prospering and becoming more abundant and becoming richer in the process. I mean, if you need to coach somebody, you're going to learn how to coach yourself first. I mean, if you need to teach people how to love, you have to understand to love yourself first. I mean, anything you're trying to teach people first, you have to teach yourself first. You have to understand that you cannot give what you don't have. So give it to yourself first and be selfish with the information and learn from it and grow from it. And then once you have success, then go and prosper other people and become abundant in the process. You see, guys, the ideal way of growing in life is to make sure that you're living in the moment and to be present all the time, because those people who are present in the moment are more likely to be healthier, and also less thinking is required. You have to understand that those people who are living in the moment are much more likely to live longer because they have something to do. You have to understand, you have something to do today, you need something to do. You have to do something for nothing. You have to understand that my work is for free on the internet. I do it for free because I understand the economy today is going down, and more people and more people and more people have less money in terms of plastic money to give me. So I give them free knowledge so that I can boost my attention for free. So I can become freedom so that I can go and live my life for free. You have to understand, you also have to do the same. So make sure that you're more leader-like to do so. I will say, guys, that the ultimate ideal in life is your empathy. So those people who have empathy are the ones who are able to lead. I promise you, when you're able to lead, you're able to do anything. You're able to really prosper. You're able to become abundant. You're able to have a mindset that you need. You need to understand that looking inside is greatness. And those people who look inside are living in the moment. You have to understand that clarity is worth it when you are looking for information. You need more information today to become everything, and to prosper, and to become more abundant, and to be more motivated, and to be more driven, and to have more determination. I need you to be more determined today. I need you to understand to go find the information you need. I give it for free. You have to understand, you go find people who are really successful, and I realize that those people are going to give you what you need. You have to understand, what you need more of is more information, because that's wisdom. And the more of it you have, the more successful you are. So make sure you get more of it. You see, guys, when you give it one go in life, you understand that number one is everything. And those people who simplify numbers are the ones who are able to take action today. You need to be able to take action today. You need to understand that freedom is worth living. You have to understand that you have to be serious about your work. You have to be honest about your work. You have to be integrity. You have to look inside. You have to understand that it's not about others anymore. I promise you, it's about you. And how are you going to succeed today? I promise you, it's about you. You have to succeed more. You have to understand, the more you succeed, the more you can help others. I promise you, it's not about helping them succeed without you helping you succeed. I promise you, it's about you helping yourself first, and then that way you will be able to help them. I promise you, now find a way today to help yourself. I promise you, information is the best way. I promise you, you have many mentors, so go find them. You see, guys, the difference is in life that you have to be different. So to be different is to be unique. You have to understand that uniqueness has everything to do with communication. So when you're coming back to communication, I need you to speak in a way that's always different. You have to always do everything differently. You have to understand it's the best way of life. You have to understand you also have to be serious about your work, and you have to honestly be proud of your work. And be honest with yourself. You have to understand that when you're honest with yourself, you'll grow. So those who are proud can be proud in two ways. You can either be proud dying, or you can be proud growing. I need you to be proud growing, because that's how you be proud in Jesus. And you be proud with Jesus, because it's in growth and it's in the light. Because those people who are egotistical are also proud, although they're proud in the way that Hitler killed 20 million people and more. You have to understand that kind of pride is no good, because that's killing, and that's egotistical, and that's criminal. And you have to understand that anybody who can grow is a life-skilled coach who can teach you something. I promise you, now you can also become one of those, because you have it in you, to absorb all the information in the world to become one. And that's the simplest way that I can say to become anything greater in life. You have to understand, it's just absorb all the information as you can and with what you can, and just absorb information. And just absorb information and just keep doing that. And then once you're doing that, I promise you, you're gonna be a word freak. And you're gonna grab all these words and all these scenarios, and you're gonna give your best performance each and every single time. You always have to keep doing that. You have to keep doing it in a way that's gonna help you. You have to understand that every single day I show up in front of a video camera and I give my best performance and I give my best day possible. I promise you, I become more proud in growth in Jesus' name. You have to understand, I become more of who I need to be. I become something greater, because what's important is how much I can coach people and how much I can do. So I push myself every single day to come and do my content. I just figured out with music production, for example, and making music, I promise you, over time, music dies over time. And now, for example, with Beethoven and Mozart, I promise you, their classical music will always stay around, although there will always be listeners with that kind of music. And now, also, I have to understand that music also, over time, can stay around. I promise you, although that many music will die over time. Although, if you create a legacy, where your legacy is such a big legacy and name, and you have music behind you, I promise you, your music will carry out your name too. So, realize that you can never lose if you're a big giver. I promise you, just give some information. And you make some techno music, you make whatever you need in life. I promise you, whatever you need to do, you just make sure you're broad in your terms. Your terms and conditions must be growth. You must understand that life is to be lived now. So when I get up in front of a stage and I talk with the crowd, I make sure that my voice is projected louder. So when I do that, I feel stronger. I feel stronger on the stage immediately. I own the stage and I say, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you and I don't care about you. I mean the best for you. I mean, every single time I project my voice on that stage and tens and thousands of people are looking at me, I make sure that I own the stage and those people. I own it. I'm the boss. I make sure that I show myself in a better way. So every single time I do that, I have to project my heart into the crowd, and I have to project a different way, and I have to do things a different way, and I have to look at somebody a different way, and I have to speak a different way, and I have to feel a different way, and I have to look a different way. I have to have a new hairstyle. I have to have new clothing each and every single public speaking event. I have to ask myself better questions. I have to look differently in every single moment of my life, because the difference is being different, and being different is everything. So understand that Jesus is always different, because Jesus speaks in a different way. I promise you now, Jesus grew in a different way also. I promise you, everything about Jesus' story is different. You'll understand that. I promise you, everything about your story is different. And now that makes you unique. You look different from everybody else. And now if you're a twin, I promise you, you're not going to have the same life as your twin. You're not going to have the same life as your twin brother or twin sister. I promise you, you may look the same, although you have both different experiences. I promise you now, there is not an absolute person in divine nature who has a twin brother or twin sister who's had the exact same lifestyle. I promise you now, that is something that we can talk about. And you always will be able to do that. You just have to understand that you have to start slowly, and you have to start doing videos now, quickly. You have to do something quickly today to make sure that you can be profound in your communication. Now, I'm serious about my work. I'm serious about what I do over here. And it's just giving you skills. I promise you, I'm just giving you information. And that's all I am doing. I'm just giving you information products. And information is full of skills about life. And anything that helps you with information is a skill. I promise you now, you have to always look into information and give it. And now, if you're a mechanic, for example, in a car factory, and a car comes and then you have to fix the car, you're fixing outside problems. You're not fixing yourself. If you find yourself working a 9-to-5 job where you have to fix a warehouse and clean around the warehouse to fix the warehouse setting and space and move things around the warehouse, I promise you, that's got nothing to do with skills. I promise you, anybody can do that. I promise you, a baby can do that. promise you, anybody can do it. And now, listen, I promise you, we are all babies. I promise you, now, I never need you to be called an adult. I never need you to be called an adult. I never need you to be called a adolescent or teenager or old man or old woman. You understand? I need you to be a baby. You say, I'm a baby today. Because the baby state is going to help you. And now you honestly have to say throughout time that you're a baby. You never call yourself old, and you never ask people questions like, how old are you? You don't care about how old they are. You care about how young are they. That's different. And now you have to understand that it's a different mentality to go about. Although many people are always asking how old, it's not about how old anymore. You understand? It's about how young. I mean, how young is he? I mean, how young is she? That's what it's about. And now we have to move forward. So what we do is we progress in our communication. So our communication is the basis of life. And now every single time you need to say something different, you come back to communication and you pick a word. You pick a word and you say it differently. You state something differently. You have a different sentence. You have a different feel. You have a different life. You have something different to say all the time. And now just never repeat the same thing twice. That's called communication. And that's called growth. Each and every single time you can do that, and also stay interested in what you have to say, while also keeping people interested in what you have to say, because that will also get you interested. I mean, do you understand what I mean, Jelly Bean? I mean, do you understand? When you smile at me, Jelly Bean, I will show you what I am. You have to understand that every single day. I promise you, I'm not gay, I'm not bisexual, although guess what? You have to understand, I'm something better than I am. I promise you, each and every single day, I make people laugh, although guess what? I make people laugh so I can grow. I don't do it for you, I don't do it for anybody else. Although, I will understand that my communication skills is something to attract the audience. So when I talk like this, you understand that you're going to look at me. That's the whole point. The whole point is look at me and forget them. You understand? Because now you're here. I promise you we're here to learn. I promise you we're here to grow all the time. So make sure you're always growing in everything you do. You have to understand every single day, you focus on your video, you focus on what you have to do, you focus on your life, and that way you can prosper and move forward. You talk over the people when they are talking around your video. You have to understand that is the whole point of life. The whole point of life is do something that you can today to make sure that you can prosper, and so that you can succeed, and so that you can do something that's really amazing. I promise you, if other people are talking around your video, you just let them and you continue. You understand? Because what the deal is that we're learning today. And when we're learning, we're going to find a better way to say something. I promise you, the better way is never stop your video for anybody. You understand? You never stop your video for anybody. You make sure you're always growing. You make sure you're always feeling something better, because other people don't care about you and they don't care about your business. You have to understand that what you care about is yourself the most. You must understand that you go even further and go in Jesus' direction. You understand? So realize that each and every single step on the way, we have to learn something different. You have to come back to communication skills. You have to understand that communication is the way of life, and we always have to elaborate differently and differently and differently, and just keep doing it differently, because that's what it is all about. It's about a new way. It's about a new life. It's about something that you can do today to make sure that you can prosper and that you can succeed and that you can become abundant in your own grace. And now, since I'm using this nice beautiful video over here, you have to understand that I'm in the video, and now I have to coach myself how to grow myself in the video. So that's a nice beautiful challenge that I can do every single day. And I do 3 hours of that every single day, because it's not about teaching you. I promise you, it's about growing I. I promise you, when I grow I can teach you. Now that's what I'm doing each and every single video, because here I am again showing up for success, because I'm not here to teach you, I'm here to teach myself more. You understand? So every single day I'm always doing something much more grateful. I'm always doing something that I can do today to succeed, because that's the whole point of life. The whole point of life is look inside while everybody else is loud. You have to understand, you look inside, you find peace. You find peace and serenity. You find what to say. You look at the camera. You don't have to look at the lens right away. You have to look at the lens right away. Although you don't have to look straight at the lens. You can just look in the direction of the lens, and it's like I'm looking at you. You understand, I'm really, really enjoying my life. And that way you understand that when you're enjoying your life, you'll also be inside. You'll be living inside. You'll be more spiritual. You'll be something fascinating. You'll be something that is worthy. And that's the whole point. I mean, never lose focus. I mean, be concentrated in your life and be something incredible. That's the whole point of life. The whole point of life is making sure that anything that happens is you're going to catch some words in the air and you're going to give it. You're going to give whatever you can. And then you're going to find something to say within the video as you're speaking. You always find a recommendation. You always find a skill. You always find something that you can say differently. You just have to trust yourself, and in yourself while you're doing a video, you're going to be moving forward, and you're not moving back and forth. You're just moving forward the whole way, because it's not about going back and forth through communication. It's about moving forward only and growing within the communication. So within growth, there is no back and forth conversation. It's just going up in growth. You're just understanding dialogue, and dialogue has everything to do with how you talk with yourself the most. You have to understand that is the whole point of communication. And now you're going to talk with yourself more and more throughout time, and the most in your life. You're going to talk with yourself the most in your life. So realize to be your best friend today, because that's the only way that you can survive and thrive in life. And now I need you to thrive over survive. I need you to understand that people who survive are people who are homeless on the street and struggling. They're the survivors. Although the thrivers are the ones who are never on the street and never middle class. And they're the millionaires and billionaires. And I need you to understand to go thrive in life, because that's the way to go. I need you to be on top of your content. I need you to be on top of your life. I need you to be on top of what you're doing every single day, because that's what goal-oriented people do. What should goal-oriented people do? What should goal-oriented people do everything they can to succeed. So make sure every single day your mindset is much better, your focus is much better, your clarity is much better, and focus on those subjects and learn about them. I mean, learn about clarity. I mean, learn about focus and concentration. I mean, learn about veganism. I mean, learn about everything in the book of life. That's the whole point of life, and that's the best direction. The best direction is learning and staying curious and open-minded. You have to do that all the time. You have to focus on yourself like nobody else has focused on you. You understand? So realize that the crowd is not with you and the crowd is not on your side. You have to understand they're against you and everything you do. I promise you now, they may be with you at the moment, and I promise you it's just because the drugs are there. I promise you they're just with you because they do not understand or see how to get into a better stage. Now, I don't know either, although guess what? I have better experience than them. And now you have to understand, I'm not part of the crowd, although in order to get away from the crowd, you have to go alone. And now when you find yourself alone, you find yourself feeling the best ever, and also you'll find out who your true friends are, because your true friends is not anybody in the crowd. And it's also not anybody that you've grown up with other than you. You understand that when you're traveling throughout life and you're alone and you're trying to succeed, I promise you that crowd that you're with is never going to help you. I promise you they'll never help you do anything, because they themselves do not help themselves. I realize now that you understand that you don't rely on the crowd, and you don't rely on anything other than Jesus and yourself to succeed. And now realize this, I'll give you information to succeed, although you have to be the one that's always coming back for more information. And then you're coming back to learn and grow and be serious about your business, because business is really giving content. You're giving content that helps somebody. I promise you that's business. And now you can do that in all aspects of life. I promise you now people grab soccer stars and put them into soccer teams to help them to succeed. And now you have to understand that it's really, you need to help somebody succeed in your area of life. And now what is your area of life? You have to understand, it's either emotional, you have either financial, you either have personal, you either have communicational, you either have spiritual. I mean, which one is it? Because it has to be all five. You understand? I mean, it has to be all five areas. And now go and improve your physique. I mean, go improve your fitness and also your athleticism. And realize that when you have an athletic ability to understand that you can grow, you can understand that you can be flexible, you can do anything in your power to grow. That's the whole point of growth. The whole point of growth is making sure that what you're doing now is going to be better than before, so that you can prosper. You have to motivate people in your videos too. You have to do something that's really going to be inspiring. And now, what's inspiring for you? What's inspiring for you must be something unique. I mean, it must be something unique that you can do. I promise you, you've got it already. I promise you, you've got the idea. I mean, that first idea that popped up into your mind and brain right now, and your head and your heart, is that one compassionate signal that you can go and bring forth into the world. And you can go and make a business out of it, and you can just help people do that. I don't care what it is other than growth. You have to understand, you just go and do growth in that. You go and grow your business slowly. And now all you do is you go on social media and you just make an idea about that. And just be that all your life. And do it for free. And just enjoy it. I mean, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do? I promise you, it has to be that one idea. I promise you, it has to be something that you will never work for money for. I promise you now, everything that I have over here is something mindful, and it's also something amazing. And it's nothing like a ridiculous nature. I promise you, it's called wisdom. And now I'm a wisdom worker. I'm a miracle worker. I am a life coach. I am a knowledge broker. I am an information provider. I am an employment provider. I am everything under the blue sun. You understand? I'm everything in information, because information leads in every single area of life. So when I research information, that's my job. Now, when I research information, I'm learning every single step of the way what everything is. You understand me? So when I do that, I'm curious. I'm open-minded about the Buddha. I'm open-minded about Jesus. I'm open-minded about Hercules. I'm open-minded about Nikola Tesla. I'm open-minded about every single man that's ever lived and woman that's ever lived who is famous and left some work for us to work on. You have to understand, you have to work on something. So to work on something, just make sure you're better than yesterday and focusing upon yourself the most, because that's how you're going to live inside. You're going to live inside in a way that you're understanding to be a true gift with yourself daily. You have to understand that when I motivate you, I give you courage, and that way I build strength. I promise you, when I build strength, I also understand that I love my life much clearer. I love my life much clearly, in a clearer manner. I promise you, sometimes I may mumble in my words, or that I go backwards and I correct my words in a better way. And that way I go forwards. You can go backwards to grow. You have to understand, you can go forwards to grow. You just never go backwards to never grow. You have to understand that those people who are never growing are never accumulating skills, and they're never readers. I promise you, readers are leaders. So people who are reading today are the founders and CEOs and people who have large companies and big brands, and are people who are rich all the time. So you have to read something. You have to get yourself ideas, and you have to speed read along the way. I promise you now, if you're not willing to do that, you're not willing to do anything. I promise you now, those people who are more driven and have more motivation to succeed are the ones who are accumulating more knowledge right now. I promise you, they're learning and learning and learning, because what knowledge is fuel. And the more fuel you have, the more passion you have about life. So the more information you have, I promise you, that's going to drive you to go and give information. And that's the whole point. So you start reading, because for the first 5 years, I started to read. And then I started to give information. And I mean by teaching it. I mean, first I had to read first about the information and download it, and then apply it. And then once I applied it, I became my own teacher about it. And then I started to teach what I applied from what I learned from the information I gathered. And then I went about my life like that. And now here I am 6 years later, and I'm still learning. I'm still reading fast. I'm speed reading better than ever. My best version. I am a vegan. I'm sober for over 2 years now. I'm vegan for 2 years. You have to understand, I am now amazing. I'm off the list of drugs for over 6 years. I'm off the legal drugs for over 2 years. Although, guess what? I'm living a healthier and happier life. And that's the whole point of being a life coach and any area of life. Whereas the whole point is be healthier and stop working for money and build some time management skills, and also make sure that your finances are much better and properly oriented in a better way. You have to understand, you never be correct about your finances, because if you're correct and exact on your numbers, you'll lose. You never be exact. You just estimate in numbers. You just estimate everything. And then once you estimate, you're just growing your numbers. You're not remaining on one level of numbers. You're growing them. You cannot grow to $2 million in numbers when you have $1 million. You understand? What you can do is you can grow from $1 million to 2 million and 10 billion while you're growing your numbers only. You cannot stay on $1 million numbers because that's all you ever be. You understand? So you have to understand that every single number in the world is number one. I simplify all my numbers into number one. I make sure that when I make goals, I put time management techniques in terms of words with numbers. And I connect words with numbers and numbers. I'll give you an example. I promise you, I look at the clock and I look at my time schedule. I have 24 hours in a day. I promise you now, I use the 1 hour rule, which states 23 hours of the day is going to be invested into indoors. And I'll be indoors for 23 hours of the day. And 1 hour a day, I'll go into the city to go get myself shopping and I'll come back into my accommodation. And that's it. Now, that's time management and that's a schedule. And now when you have more schedules here, such as that, you understand that I never would anything, although I have more time schedules this way, and this way it helps me so much. Although I go into my beautiful input in terms of my financial calendar and I write 23 hours times 365 times 72 years. And now what this brings is the next 72 years of my life is going to have a certain number of hours. And now it may be 43 years that I may be doing this nice beautiful schedule for. You understand? So I make sure to find all these numbers and I have a nice beautiful financial calendar to help me do this. Although you have to see it. And I can still elaborate on it, although it's much more distinct in how it looks. Although that broad words are the best numbers. And now I'm living over 100 years of age because I never limit myself to numbers. I never limit myself to anything. So anything in terms of numbers, you have to understand you have to have a number with a word to make a goal. Now, the best way to do that is to make sure that you are reading everything that you can, and that way you can be more broad about what you're doing. The best way you can understand the best way you can understand a greater life is to remember that if you're tired, you have to understand you keep going. You keep going in your video. Because guess what? I'm not tired in my video, although guess what? I'm very much like a being who needs to also get some sleep. And guess what? I promise you that I'm pushing myself to grow here. And I could have went to sleep, although guess what? I'm still pushing myself to do some videos. I promise you it's good for in my growth, because that way I will grow. I'll understand how I push my boundaries. I'll understand what I can do today to succeed. I promise you that's the whole point of success. I promise you it's called be enthusiastic. It's called be charismatic. It's called be a persona. Have a persona, an attitude that's unique and that's going to be nicer throughout time. That's the way to go. And go and learn how to be nicer. And go and learn how to have a greater attitude. And go and learn everything under the blue sun. Because that way you will be hyped up and you'll be pumped up and you'll also have the hype behind you and you'll have everything you ever need because you're always growing and you're always listening to yourself inside the most with Jesus. I promise you I'll block out anybody else outside of me because you can see that other people are negative, and that way I understand that when I move away from them, I never need them in my life. I never need what they're saying in my life because I only need Jesus. You understand? I only need Jesus. When I go Jesus' way, I do it for Jesus. And when I do it for Jesus, I'll live life even longer. So I'm always looking to see how I can live my life greater. I promise you when others are annoying you, I promise you it's because you're allowing them. I promise you now, you have to understand, you have to allow them to annoy you. Although just remember that it's not you who's being annoyed. You have to understand it's really your ego. Your ego gets annoyed. Your ego gets frustrated. Your ego gets negative. Your ego gets anger. Because that's all negativity. You understand? So what you have to do is allow people to annoy you and anger you and all of this. So the more you let go of it, the less egotistical you get. And now, I promise you, Albert Einstein said that the more knowledge you have, the less of an ego you have. And now that's spot on. Because I can tell that Albert Einstein is somebody fascinating in terms of a mindset. And especially in his time where there was no internet. and he read books. He read a lot of books, and he was a writer, and he also turned into a vegetarian 3 years before his death, which I read upon. And now I'm a vegan at 28, and guess what? Albert Einstein became a vegetarian around 60. So guess what? You can understand that it's really that your mindset must be in a better place. You must understand that the weeds in your mindset must be flowers now. Roshi, that's the kind of picture we're going for, because you must be more beautiful. And now to be more beautiful, you have to be more in discomfort. You have to understand that discomfort is natural. And those people who are in discomfort are more likely to get away from the crowd, and are more likely to succeed, and are more likely to grow their social media and also be in front of the camera and be more fluent in what they're saying and write more and have a journal and give more content freely and never charge other people for money because they're never working for money. You have to understand that they're never worried about finances because they have the health. And remember, health is wealth and health is number one. So realize that every single day you must always pronounce your words better. You must look inside for the words. You must understand that words matter. You must be a word freak. You must be a word nerd. And that way you will grow. You will grow when you love words. I love words. I love anything to do with words. I see BuzzFeed, for example, in all the words. I understand that BuzzFeed is also a blog, although I understand that it just came about that I just say it. And although I just make sure I say every single word that comes into my brain. And that way I expose it and then I improve upon it. I realize that BuzzFeed has nothing to do with anything. Although, guess what? I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still enjoying my life. Because that was a mistake. Although, guess what? I learned from it. And I'll just move on. Understand? Because I have no mistakes when I give wisdom. I realize that anything that's a facade is anything that never grows you. So realize that most people in your life will never grow you right now. I promise you they'll never give you ideas. I promise you they'll never write anything for you. I promise you they'll never walk your steps. I promise you they'll never do anything for you, because anything that they want is they just want to accumulate everything for themselves and stuff you off. I mean, that's the way the world is. And guess what? You go and create your lifestyle better than theirs, and then make them chase you for all the information on how you succeeded. You understand? Because that way you gain more respect, and that way you have more revenge. Because when you gain more success, you have more revenge in the process. And make success and more success your revenge with other people. And never go seeking other people to just cause them drama or to cause drama in the first place. I mean, it's not about drama and it's not about violence. So just remember that violence begets violence. So violence doesn't solve anything. I promise you, what you do to others, you will also get done into yourself. So if you hit somebody, you'll also get hit. You have to understand, you never ever hit other people, even when you get hit. You turn the other cheek, as Jesus said. I promise you, if someone hits your right cheek, you turn the left cheek too. I promise you, it's the best way. I promise you, it's the best way, and it's the funniest way, although it's the smartest way. I promise you, although you never ever kill anybody, and thou shalt not kill, as Jesus says, and follow the 10 commandments of God. I promise you now, those are your rules. And now, forget the police laws, and forget the government laws, and forget the people laws of today's world. You go follow Jesus' laws only. I promise you, there's 10 laws, you go follow them, and just be that. I mean, just be that, and I promise you, you'll grow faster than ever before. I promise you now, it's more that you have to understand that when you're growing, you're also never dying. You're never dying in the process of growth. You're always making sure that what you're doing today is going to be different. You're making sure you're changing up your words. You're making sure that you fluctuate in a better manner. You're doing something more corresponding in a way that you're going to be responsible. You're going to be accountable. You're going to be something that's more. You're going to be something that's much more fashionable. You're going to be something that you can be, because that way it works. So make sure you go do something that works every single day. And make sure that you're just motivated about life. That's the whole point of life. It's all about motivation. And when you're motivated, you can succeed. This video can be my motivational video. Although it's about something greater. You have to understand, it's just make sure that you're always living your passion. And live your passion to the moment. I mean, do it for the moment. I mean, do it to the moment. I mean, just make sure that you're in the moment. The moment can never hurt you. although it can grow you. And now the moment is now, and this moment is everything, and it's all you have. So invest it wisely. Promise you now, if you're investing your time in poor people, you will also be that. You understand? So get away from the crowd, because most of them are poor people and they're middle class people. So never be around middle class people if you plan to be rich. You understand? Because middle class people will only ever go to middle class people. And you have to understand that anything other than middle class is either poor or rich. So never go to where poor people are, because middle class people are poor. Although you understand that middle class is just called middle class because it sounds much better than poverty and poor people. So just realize that I never ever go around middle class people. I stay away from them as much as I can, because I have mentors. I have people who are millionaires and billionaires, and I follow them every single day, and they give me the attitude I need, and they give me the work ethic, and they post online every single day, and it's my motivation every single day. I see them posting, I can do it too. Roger, now, if I didn't have mentors, and if I didn't have Jesus in my life, I would not succeed. You have to understand, I have Jesus, and now Jesus is my ultimate mentor, and everything that my mentors, in terms of my other mentors, talk about, I relate it with Jesus. I promise you, everything in terms of knowledge, I go to Jesus for it. I promise you, although I go to my other mentors and I learn from them and I see what they're up to, and I amuse myself with them, I entertain myself with them in a way that I grow. And I have a learning curve, understand, and that's the whole point of life. It's about learning curve. And now learning curve never stops. You have to be growing every single second of every single minute of every single moment in life. And now that is your ultimate business, and that's the Jesus business. Because when you're growing, you're never dying. And now when you're dying, you're going to be worse than yesterday, and that means you're number 2. So in life, I always label people as number 1 or number 2. And now, for example, Novak Djokovic right now, Bruce is number 1, because number 1 people are better than yesterday. I'm number 1 also, because I surround myself with number 1 people. So I look to see around to see who is number 1 and who is number 2, just so I can reference myself better, because I stay away from the number 2 much more than I do the number 1. Although when I see number 1 people, I stay away from them too, because I'm secure enough, and more than secure, to never go where they are. I never need them in the first place. I never need millionaires and billionaires to teach me how to live life. I've got Jesus. I'm that confident. I'm that confident that I don't need them in my life. Although I still go to them just for the information. And I amuse myself and entertain myself, as I said. Although, let's not repeat our words ever. When you're repeating your words in your life, you have to understand you repeat it in a different way and in a different fashion. And you have to understand you have to keep moving forward. You have to understand you never be stuck on your words, because the whole point of life is never be stuck. So when you're giving content and videos, you're going to find a better way. You're going to find that you can say something in a different way. Although, even though you may have stuffed up in the video, your video is totally different than the one before. So each and every single hour of a video I may do, I do it differently than the previous video. I do it differently than the previous videos I've done. So I can grow. That's the whole point. I need to grow every single day. I have to do something every single day to make sure that my life can prosper, and so that I can succeed in a different way. I promise you that when I get tired, I push on. And I make sure that you have the content that you need, because that is the whole point of growth. I promise you the point of growth is making sure that you're succeeding. I promise you it's making sure that you're confident. I promise you it's making sure that you're never drowsy or anything that's negative. Understand that when you're drowsy, you're just fatigued. You're just tired about life. And you have to understand that when you're tired, you can also understand to keep going throughout your video when you need to. Now, the whole point of this video is to make sure that you just have everything you need. So you have to understand that in this video, I've already taught you many aspects of life, although there's still so much to go. I mean, life doesn't stop teaching you. You have to understand you have to keep going. You have to understand you have to keep pronunciating your words in a different manner, and just keep growing, because that's discomfort. And now discomfort is worth it. Those people who are worth it and push on and push on and push on are going to be stronger and stronger and stronger throughout time, and are going to be able to jump ahead of the crowd. Now, when you're doing that, you just keep consistent. You keep consistent. You do 3 hours a day, and you keep consistent every single day. And you push on, and you push on, and you push on, and you push on. I promise you, the work pays off. I promise you, it pays off in multitude of ways, because you're helping people. Through you, Jesus talks. Understand? So the more you can do for Jesus, the better for you, because that way you understand much greater. You understand much more wisdom. You understand a better you. You understand a better functionality mindset. You have a great mindset. You're going to be a great attitude. You're going to have understanding. And as Dr. Wayne Dyer said, that attitude is all you sell. You have to sell your attitude, and you sell it for free. You don't sell money. You don't sell anything other than wisdom. And when you sell it for free. You sell everything and you be a salesman for free. You don't do it for money. You don't work for somebody else. You don't do cold calls with people so you can make other people money. I mean, you'd be a slave working for other people so that you make them richer. You don't make them richer at all. I mean, what you do is you make yourself richer. You understand? You make yourself richer first and not other people, because when other people are giving you 50 grand a year to make them 3 million, I mean, you just lost. You understand? So that's called the numbers game. And now you have to understand, you stay away from the numbers game, because what's important is yourself. And now stick with Jesus, because Jesus is all numbers. I mean, Jesus is all numbers in one. And now you have to understand that numbers rule the world. And now never get me wrong and never get me right. You have to understand, it's really that we need numbers. We need to succeed with numbers. Although, just make sure they understand that the numbers game that I talk about is many people will use you and abuse you so that they can have more money. I mean, that's what I mean by that aspect of life. And realize this, you'll never be used by people. If you are faking it, you understand that you are somebody who's egotistical. And egotistical people fake it. They fake it every single second of every single life about who they are with you. 1 minute they love you, and the next minute they're backstabbing you. And they don't care about you at all. They may be around you because of something that you relate with them with. Now, one of the aspects where I was around people, I was going around clubbing. And now the only aspect of relation I had with those people is that we were chasing women. And we were going nightclubbing. And that's it. I promise you that we would make up 3 times a week, and 2 times a week, and 1 time a week. And we would go clubbing. I mean, for the same reasons. Because we related like that. And as soon as you take away those reasons, I promise you they don't come with you. I promise you now, since you're not interested in clubbing and chasing women anymore, I promise you those people will never come to see you. I mean, you don't have the same interest anymore. I mean, what are you going to do now? I promise you now, you have your best choice. You have the best decision now, which is go alone. I promise you now, when I left 1 year and 3 months ago to go around Australia and just travel alone, you understand how much I grew? I promise you, I grew so much because the crowd is not with me. And they're not with me to drag me down, and I don't have to call them up anymore. I don't have to wait for their phone calls. I don't have to go see them anymore. I don't have to talk to them anymore. I don't have to be around them anymore. I don't have to message them anymore. I don't have to like their stuff anymore. You have to understand that now I can just go my way and live my life. I don't need them at all. I don't need their stupidity around me. So what I do is I stay alone and I stick with the mentors that I have. And that way I become something richer than the middle class and poor people, because I never am around the middle class and poor people. I realize there are many middle class and poor people around me though. And now that's something different, although I'm never hanging around with them. Fortunately, now you can have people around you. You just never be with them. You never be in a group. I realize that when you're in a group, you may have 12 people in the group. And now you may have 6 girls and 6 guys. And now when you join the group as a new guy in the group, you have to earn your stripes now. You have to earn your stripes in the group of 12 people. I mean, are you nuts? You have to understand that is how it goes. And now, if you're there for 1 year, I promise you, they'll kick you down and they'll grab the woman off you, or they'll grab the men off you, and you'll be left with nobody in the group in terms of to be with. And now you may be with you might be with the person or people who are less popular in the group. You understand? Because the other 3 or 4 are cousins and they own the group. I mean, they're the leaders of the group because they're cousins and brothers and they outnumber you. I mean, in the crowd, it's a numbers game. And I mean that if you go against the crowd, the whole crowd's against you. I mean, the majority is always against you. You have to understand. And now, as soon as you become the minority, you realize that it's you against the world. I promise you now, when you are against the world, you are just realizing that you never be against the world. You just be something better than them. Because you have to understand that when it's 1,000 to 1, and 1,000 people have their own opinion about you, that is negative about you, you be that one individual who's positive about you. That's called positive confidence, and that's confidence. And now, if you're I promise you, if you're violent with that crowd, I promise you now, because you're violent, I promise you it's a numbers game, which means you are the only opinion that you have, and there's 1,000 of them. I mean, who wins? I mean, if everybody was violent, and you are just on your side, and the other person has 1,000 on their side, I mean, you have now lost because you were violent with them, and they were violent with you. Although they have more friends. I mean, they have 1,000 people more. I promise you, although if 1,000 people attacked you and killed you, I promise you, you'd be the winner. I promise you, you'd be the winner always. Although if that person attacked you first and you never fought back and you turn the chin and you say, once you hit me this way, you hit me this way too. I promise you now, you're not attacking back, although he hit you and she hit you and you fell on the ground and he broke your nose or she broke your nose. And now there's 1,000 people on that guy's side. I mean, you won again. You won because you understand that you now are something much bigger. You're much greater. You're much better than that person and those 1,000 people. You just grabbed all the power from them and you're going to succeed even more. Probably that's what we're talking about. Probably it's called not violence. You have to understand it's called no violence. You have to understand that when you're doing knots in life, you have to understand it's really, let's not speak about the knots because the knots never teach you anything. You have to understand I teach more than knots. You have to understand it's really be something much greater than who you are. You have to understand you have to move forward. You have to understand you have to keep moving your conversation forward because that's how you keep the crowd interested. You keep the crowd interested in a new pattern, in a new segment of life where you can be foundational and you can understand to go where nobody else has ever been. Approaching, that's the point of life. Approaching, the point of life is go do something that nobody else has. Approaching, that's the best way. Approaching, the best way is go and move through your fear and see that your fear is a lie and that once you overcome your fear, you will become more confident. And the more you overcome your fears, the more confident you get. And that's the way. The way is, let's go help somebody so that they can succeed. And forget all else. That's the way to go. The way to go is Jesus. And seeing what Jesus has to teach me. That's the way. The other way is learning. And learning just from the world around you and just learning about information overall. Or else overall you're learning about information, you're learning something to understand much more, and that way you will grow. You will grow into a foundational leader and you'll be much more worth it. You understand that when you have 1 hour of a video, you'll finish the 1 hour and then guess what? You give your best performance and that way you'll be happier. You understand that you did something more. You have to understand you have to go and be something much greater than yourself. And that way you will be pronounced in a greater way. I promise you, it's about nice and beautiful motivation every single day. So you have motivational videos online where you can go and watch people on YouTube right now. And hopefully YouTube is around in your time. Although you understand that, guess what? I last the test of time because guess what? I'm here giving my knowledge forever. Promise you, that's the whole point. Promise the whole point is let's move along. And let's move along in growth. Promise you have to push yourself. You have to push yourself. So here I am. I'm tired, although I'm not tired. I'm not tired because I have to do this video. I'm not tired, although I'm growing. I'm really growing. And I'm pushing myself in that growth. I'm pushing myself to communicate in a way that's going to help me. Realize that when I'm talking this way, I learn so much. I learn so much about how I am. I learn so much about what I can do. I promise you, I'm just teaching myself every single step of the way so that I can grow. I promise you, that's what I have to do every single step of the way. I make sure every single thing I realize every single day, I give you my whole heart. I give you my whole heart, and that way I understand I'll be more successful. I'll be more successful when I give you my best. I promise you now, when you do that, you'll also be your best. You also be your best when you're teaching yourself how to grow. And now, nobody else will teach you how to grow. I promise you, nobody else will do these videos for you, and nobody else will do anything for you. You have to do it yourself. I promise you, if you got something in terms of an experience because somebody gave you money, or you went somewhere because somebody else gave you money for it, or you grew up with a family that's rich or something, I promise you, you deserve that. You deserve it, and it's not because of them that it's not because of them that you had that. I promise you, it's because you chose that. You chose to live in that moment, and they just chose to offer you that, so you just accepted, and that's it. You deserve all the trips that they gave you. You deserve all the richness that they have because you are with them, and that's it. I promise you now, there's no complaining. Although I will say, you must never complain when people are more successful than you. You must understand that if I do 300 hours of content and you never even started, don't be jealous of me because I did more content than you. If you're a soccer star and Messi, who is Lionel Messi, has scored 50,000 goals and you never scored one, don't be jealous of him because you still have to do you. You can overtake him over the amount of years. Although, realize that it's not a competition. It's not a competition in soccer. It's not a competition in life with other people. It's a competition with yourself every single day to become your best version, and that's it. And when you're speaking in communication, I realize you just make sure you never swear, because that way you'll be nicer and you'll be cleaner. And you never know that there may be a 7-year young girl or 5-year young boy who's watching the video where you may be swearing in the video and it's no good. Be nice and be appropriate in that kind of manner. So realize that when you're talking nicely, you always have that attitude that everybody needs. Actually, nice is the way to go. So just have that in mind. So just be inspired daily to go give knowledge every single day, and that way you will prosper, you will succeed. So realize that on Instagram right now, I go on Instagram, I like so many videos, I like so many content that people are posting. I like their contents, I like their content, I like their charisma, I like their attitude, I like what they're giving. So I just like it and like it and like it. And that way I'll grab some more followers from that. And it's an enjoyable process because I'm always doing it every single hour. And now you always have to have a schedule where you can understand to go and motivate people along the way and to be something of a motivational coach yourself in some aspect of life. Make sure that you're just never working a 9 to 5, because as soon as you got out of the 9 to 5, as soon as you get out of the 9 to 5, you understand freedom. You understand that no longer do you have to care for other people in terms of having a boss. You never have to have a boss in life. You don't have to care for other people. You just care for yourself. Although you make sure you grow yourself and other people. Promise you never have to care for other people. You just make sure you're growing yourself and other people. Promise you that's it. Promise you it's that simple. Promise you now, you just make sure you're growing yourself. Promise you when you're growing yourself, you will care for everybody. Although the whole point of life is just grow yourself and grow thyself. And to do that is to love it's to love ourselves. And as Jesus says, love thyself. You have to always do that. You have to understand that life is momentary. And you're in this moment, and this too shall pass. There was a book that said this in terms of this too shall pass. And they said the magic words are this too shall pass. So if you are going through struggles or a difficult time or adversity, you say this too shall pass. And now everything will pass eventually. And you understand that life goes fast. And now 10 years ago, I was in high school. And I was playing poker, and I was nowhere near this version. I was nowhere near this version that you see today. I was 50 million times worse in my communication. 50 million times. And also I was nowhere close to traveling Australia for 1 year, 3 months. And I was with my biological dad, and I was a smoker, and I was drinking alcohol, and I was around the crowd. I was so much worse. My communication skills have improved 50 million times. 50 million times over. That's how much more I've grown throughout 10 years. And now I really started to grow when I started to read. I started to read first. I started to read 1 hour a day because Brian Tracy said so. And then I started to listen to Brian Tracy more, and he said, get away from the television and get away from the radio and get away from the news and stop watching it. And then he said, start updating yourself with positive information. And then he said, you must also make sure that when you work, and that you also update yourself with the newest videos online with your mentors. And I'm doing that now. I'm doing it every single day. Although now I've leveled him totally, and now I never stay away from the television because I never watch the television live. So what I do is I never watch television live in terms of live stream. So for example, a DJ may go on YouTube and pump music for 2 hours, and he may be in live time, and 1 and 2 and 3, and you're watching in live time. Although I never do that. What I'll do is that DJ will finish his 2-hour set, and then I'll jump online after that, and I'll just go and see. I see what you did over here. I see what you did over here. I see what you did over here. I'm just scrolling the cursor to see all the parts of the music, and then I go through a 2-hour set in 10 minutes. Watch now, speed read that whole section. I speed read the whole section, and once I do that, I understand that I can go move on. And then my mentors post videos, and I have Netflix as well. So what I do is I just scroll the cursor and I look at the images and the body language inside my TV shows and movies I watch, and also trailers, because what I found out is I was so negative around romance films and also trailers. And the reason is that the trailers I was not so negative, although the romance film in terms of women and men getting together, I was very negative about it. And now it's because I was conditioned to be like that, and it was because of my ego. And now I was very also negative about the movies I was watching in terms of the new movies that were out there and the new TV shows that I never watched that many. I realized that I never watched that much, and I was so negative about it because I thought it's just not me. Although when I started to speed read it and just watch the images of those TV shows, it taught me so much. And it taught me so much about images, about how they react and how they do everything in just images. And I don't even need them to give me the words. When I go through the whole 12 seasons of The Big Bang Theory or Friends, for example, which is a nice, beautiful seasonal show that happened from 1994 to 2000 in terms of the Friends show and The Big Bang Theory. I mean, I went through it in less than 2 hours. I mean, it took them 12 years to make it, and I went through it in less than 2 hours. And I just looked at the images, and because of that, I learned so much. And now, if you ask me to do that in lifetime, I'll never do it. Although now, I can recall every single moment that happened inside The Big Bang Theory, because I see the images. I mean, once you see the image, I mean, it's always in your head. You're downloading images. So make sure you go and do that every single day, and you understand that it's so helpful to do it, because when you're learning something in the process of learning, you understand that images stay with you for a lifetime. And now words can be forgotten. I mean, you can forget what somebody said. Although images, I mean, when I shine my face at you today, I mean, you always remember this image. Even in 7 years' time, you remember how I looked at 28. You understand that? Although, here's the point. I promise you, the point is that people learn faster with imagery than they do with words. I promise you now, if you're just going through videos and TV shows and movies and trailers of films, and I promise you, if you're just doing that, you never have to go to cinemas anymore. You never have to watch a live stream of a sport anymore. You never have to watch the news anymore. You never have to watch Foxtel anymore. You never have to watch anything in terms of TV shows or movies or TV, radio shows or anything in terms of that nature, because what you can do is speed read. And now when you never think about it, I mean, when you see this, you understand that, for example, you have 24 hours in a day. And now you may have a channel 10 in your local country. And now I promise you there's an application that can go through the whole day in imagery through that day of what happened on that television show. I promise you now, all you have to do is just scroll the image, and you'll see the image for the whole 24 hours of that day for that channel. And you don't even have to watch the channel live. I promise you can catch up the whole day about what happened on that channel with just the images. I promise you there is a nice, beautiful application out there that can do that. And you have to understand that you can go and subscribe to Foxtel today. That can help you do that too, because you can record the whole day. You record the whole day, and then you just go through the images. You understand? And that's the whole point. I promise you, the whole point is go fast and learn quick and be Speedy Gonzalez. You understand? So those people who do that are going to be much more inclined to live a better life. I promise you, they're ones who are going to be amazing. I promise you, they're ones who are going to do something incredible, because that is called my imagination ruler. I invented it. I invented this imagination ruler where I can just watch the images. And now those images have already been set forth into the world. And it's just so amazing to just go and do that every single day. Because no matter what you're watching, you can just watch it in images. And you don't have to listen to the audio. Although you have to understand that business mindset people, when you have nice, beautiful mentors who are millionaires and billionaires, actually it helps to listen to the audio too. Because what I do with the audio is I just scroll through the YouTube video or through the video to see sections of the nice, beautiful video where they may say a couple words and few words here and there. I realize I just get the background of what they're saying and I move on. Actually, that's it. Actually, that's all you need. You don't need every single word that they say. You don't need anything other than every single image. You just need the images. You grab the images. Approximately, that's 55% of the communication. Approximately, now, since you understand that you have to move on from what you're saying, because you've said it many times. So realize that when you said something many times, you have to move on from it, because it's much better that you elaborate on something much differently. I realize you do it in terms of something in a better way, much differently than before, so that you can understand that there's always something greater in you to do it today. Actually, that way you can understand that life is to be made simple. So make sure that you're living life simply in a way that is going to help you to have more clarity and have more sobriety in your life. Actually, that way you're going to have much more details in what you need to do. You understand that when you do this, you'll grow. You understand that in this video, I taught you many aspects of life, although I'm still growing. I'm growing each and every single step of the way, and I'm showing myself along the way how to do everything even while tired. Understand? So when I fall tired, I understand I push myself, I grow myself, I just make sure that every single step of the way I teach you something that's valuable. I have to teach you skills. I have to teach you what I can to grow, because when I grow, I also teach you the most. I teach myself the most, and that's the whole point of compassion and interdependence, which means helping yourself and other people. Now, dependence means helping nobody. That's called dependence. And now, independence is just helping yourself. Now, those are the three levels. When you go into interdependence, you're just being selfless and you're just looking for people to help. And now that's my one-step program. I realize it's called one-step program for a reason. And now it's really that when I look at people, I just go help them. That's my one-step program. I don't go into how's your day and all this. I just go in to see what is their business and how can I help them. And now I give them time. I give them the time necessary to help them, and that's it. Or should I just walk away freely? I do it for free. And then once I do that, I gain credibility for that. I mean, they love me more for that, and then they'll share me around because I help them, and that's it. Well, that's what you need to do every single day. And once you do that, you'll be something of greatness. You'll be something of attitude in a better way. You understand that there's always a heartfelt energy that you can give in the world, and just make sure you're doing it every single day. And that way you can always make sure to prosper and become abundant, because that's the way to live life. You have to understand you live life in a better way and enjoy your day. I realize that no matter what, that this video is done, because it's over 1 hour, and I'll see you guys in the next video.